Hello chess fans, fans of a beautiful game. This is Chess to Impress with further highlights from the Sinquefield Cup held in August 2016 in St. Louis in the United States of America. This is from round 8 and white is the Dutchman Anish Giri, black is the 7 times Russian champion Peter Svidler. This is the position after 74 King f5 to f6 from Svidler. Let's look at the position. We have rook and bishop for Giri and rook and knight for Svidler. And Svidler has 2 extra pawns on c3 and e5. So black is 2 pawns up. But it's not so easy. Of course he's winning, but it's not so easy to get those pawns to the promotion square. And after 7 hours of play, after Svidler had finally won, he went straight into the interview room and talked about this position.
You bolted upright in your seat when you saw this move bishop c3. I'm sure.
No, I saw that. By that point, I even worked out that I have to go into this rook ending. I want just to show you, maybe you covered all this. After knight king e4, move 77, when I went for this line, when I was playing c3, if we can, yes. King d3, yeah, here, king d3, rook c3, king e4. I thought knight e3 was winning. And only then I realized that if he starts with rook h6 check here, I think he makes a draw. Rook h6 and then rook h3. No, rook e5, rook c4, I win the rook.
Yes.
And if he goes rook h3 immediately, I play rook c4 check. And once again I'm winning because there's this fork along the third. But then just in time, I spotted that he can start with rook h6 check. And wherever king goes, he now goes rook h3. And he will take on e5, not on e3, if I go rook c4 check now.
Oh.
Yeah, that would have been one way to commit suicide here. But I managed to dodge it just in time. And also I have a feeling that in the position after rook d4, king c5, I need to go rook d1. If I don't play rook d1, I might not be winning. But rook d1 is not a hard move to make.
Right, because the rook wants to start.
I need to take away the h1 square, because from h2 he doesn't have enough squares to give checks. But from h1 he might have had enough squares.
The Russian school?
Let's have a look at what Svidler was talking about. The bishop on b2 is attacked, so has to do something. Bishop c1 would have been a good move. Then black is still winning, but it will take him quite some time to get one of those pawns to the promotion square. But instead, Giri entered a technical sequence with bishop takes c3. And Svidler said in the interview that he had seen all this when he moved his pawn to c3 3 moves ago. Rook c4, attacking the bishop twice with both rook and knight, and it's now not good to defend the bishop with rook h3, because then after everything is swapped on c3, black has a winning king and pawn endgame. The positions of the kings makes this a winning endgame for black. But instead Giri played king d3, attacking the rook. Well, the rook takes the bishop, and then king e4, attacking the knight. One of White's ideas is to win the pawn on e5 and then end up with a rook and knight versus rook endgame, which is a theoretical draw. Now comes a very important move from Svidler. He played rook c4 check, and he said afterwards that knight e3 does not work, and not because White can now take that pawn, because then there's rook c4 check, king e3, king takes e5, and black wins. It's not good for White to play rook h3, Svidler explained, because then there's rook c4 check, king takes e3, and rook c3 check, skewering king and rook, and again black wins. But what Svidler had seen is that rook h6 check to start with, an in-between move, makes a draw, because then king g5 and then rook h3. So instead of rook h3 immediately, he first gives a check on h6 to get the king away from the pawn. Because then after rook c4 check, the king does not take on e3, because then there's rook c3 again with the same skewer, but white takes on e5. And now we have this rook and knight versus rook endgame, which is a theoretical draw. So Svidler has seen all that and plays the important move rook c4 check, another in-between move. Because now Geary has to take the knight, and another important move, rook d4 check, to cut off the king. King c5, and Svidler mentioned at the end that he now had to make sure to play rook d1 to take the h1 square away from the rook, because if the rook can give checks from the first rank, then he might draw this ending, but because now he only has the second rank to give checks from, and that's not enough to harass the black king, and black is still winning here. King c4, e4, king c3, e3, rook h2 to prevent e3, e2, king f5, king comes up the board to help the pawn promote, king c2 attacking the rook, rook d8, rook h7, king f4, and Geary resigned. He knew that Svidler knew how to win this endgame. This is bread and butter for a top grandmaster. And after 84 moves, Svidler had his first victory in the tournament. Just quickly show you how the game could have ended. Let's say rook e7 to stop the pawn moving on. King f3, rook f7, harassing the king. King goes in front of the pawn to avoid further checks. Rook e7, and now a nice move from black, rook c8 check to drive the king further away. King b2, king f2 to let the pawn through. Rook f7 check, king e1, rook e7, e2, the pawn is almost there. Rook e6, a waiting move. And now comes a very instructive moment, the bridge building. Not sure if you ever seen a bridge being built. If you didn't, well, you're gonna see this for the first time now. It's a very important principle in rook endings. Rook c5 is the key move. Rook e8, white can only wait. King d2, rook d8 check, king e3, rook e8 check, king d3 because the pawn has to remain protected. Rook d8 check. Now black can go to e4, and after rook e8 check, there is the bridge. Rook e5, the bridge between king and rook. And now there's nothing that white can do against the pawn promoting and winning the game. Geary knew that Svidler knew this, so he resigned a number of moves earlier, and after 7 hours this game was finished. Hope you enjoyed this endgame full of tricks and traps and theory and bridges. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel. This is Chess to Impress. Thank you for watching.